Hi, I'm Blair, Ballin, founder of Living North Phoenix, and I'm very delighted to be here today with Vice Mayor Ann O'Brien, so thank you for meeting with me today.
Well, Blair, thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to talking with you.
Likewise, absolutely. So I have a couple questions that I wanted to discuss and just go over things. So first is let me know how you decided to become Vice Mayor and what that process looked like.
So being a vice mayor still means you're a council person, and it allows you to help out the mayor and still represent the city as well as your own district residents. And so I'm thrilled to be nominated by the former vice mayor, Deb Stark, who is a councilwoman for District 3, and then have my fellow council members and the mayor vote for me to become vice mayor. It's a great opportunity to represent the entire city, fill in when the mayor can't. She gets a lot of invitations to do things and be part of things. And so as vice mayor, you get to fill in those cases where she can't be everywhere at one time.
Sure. So I've got to be honest, before we were introduced, I didn't even know we had a vice mayor or that vice mayors existed.
Okay.
So let me and the audience know, like, are they in every city? How does that process work?
Well, so every city does work differently, but most have a vice mayor or deputy mayor, and it's done based on whatever that city's charter says. So in the city of Phoenix, we have a mayor and 8 council members, and our charter calls for us to elect a vice mayor every January in our first business meeting. And so at that first city council meeting in January, we elect a new vice mayor. So it's 1 year. And like I said, you get to do all those great things and help out when the mayor is not available.
Absolutely. How many times has she not been available so far for you to step in?
Well, in meetings, she has never missed a meeting.
Wow.
She's got a great track record for sure. But sometimes when she steps out, then you fill in running a meeting then, or has to leave early per se. But there have been wonderful invitations that I've been able to accept on her behalf and represent the city of Phoenix. I spoke with a delegation from Kenya. I recently met with mayors and vice mayors from Ukraine. So that was all, those are great experiences. I get to go to ribbon cuttings, and so a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah, that's great. What would you say is like your daily or weekly type schedule? So in Living North Phoenix, our Facebook group, one of the questions that was asked to me prior to us meeting to ask you was, and there were a bunch of questions, but the one that fascinated me the most was, what does your daily schedule look like? So what does that look like?
So there's not too much of a typical schedule per se. I do have a lot of briefings from city departments that occur throughout the week to make sure that I'm prepared for subcommittee meetings and council meetings, or if there's issues that are coming up in the community that they want to make sure we're aware of. But additionally, there are block watch meetings I attend, stakeholder meetings that will have, ribbon cuttings, event openings. So it really, there's not too much of a typical day in the life of a council person or a mayor, quite frankly. What we can count on are council meetings on the first and third Wednesdays of the month. We have executive sessions a couple of times a month, as well as policy sessions. So those meetings, which are listed on the phoenix.gov website so that all members of the public can watch them or participate in them, are about as regular of a schedule as we get.
Okay. And that was going to be my next question. I wasn't too familiar also with the council person stuff. So as a resident in the community, those are available for us to attend. What can we get out of it? What can we look forward to do? All that kind of thing.
So yes, all the agendas are online, as well as for subcommittees. And this last year, subcommittees are at the discretion of the mayor. We had 3 subcommittees this last year: Public Safety and Justice Subcommittee, Transportation, Infrastructure and Planning, and then Economic Development and Housing. I serve as the chair for Economic Development and Housing, and sit also on Public Safety and Justice Subcommittee. I did chair that committee for 3 years prior to Economic Development and Housing. And what citizens can do is learn about what's going on in the city, what issues are we tackling? What are we voting on? And they can also sign up to speak, and you can, do that either in person or you can send in an email. And one of the things we can thank COVID for, there are very few things we can thank COVID for, but is being able to participate in our meetings virtually. So you can sign up and call in, so you can give your comment in that way as well to all of the meetings, except for executive sessions. Those are where we're getting like legal advice. So
Sure. Okay. And I know you touched on it, but what is a typical, if there is a thing like workday night balanced with family also? What does that look like in your world?
Well, I mean, some evenings, I can go as late as 9 or 10 o'clock, depending on what's going on. That's not every night, but I have grown children now, and so fortunately, they're not impacted by my work schedule. My husband Terry, who is an incredible supporter, retired shortly after me being sworn in 2021. So we actually flip-flopped roles. Quite honestly. And then our daughter is married, and she has a little girl with her husband, Riley, who is the light of our life. I jokingly call him her girlfriend because he gets to spend so much time with her. And then our son, Thomas, is in Oklahoma. So we get to see him when he comes in and visits. But we do a good job I love my community, my family, except for my son. All live in my district, so they are my constituents as well as my family, which can, be good or bad depending on the day.
Right. And I read that you were born and raised in Phoenix. Is that correct?
I was, yes, born and raised in Phoenix. My parents actually bought their first house in 1972, north of Union Hills, off of 15th Avenue.
Wow.
So we lived in what people thought was South Flagstaff. It's crazy to see how the city has grown from my little girl days. And then my husband and I had a home in District 3 for about 10 years. We moved back to District 1 in 2024 and raised our children there. So I've lived almost 40 years of my 50 plus years in the district I represent. It's really awesome.
I would imagine that's pretty rare across the country to have individuals who serve that have lived in their area for that long. So that's great.
I guess I hadn't really thought about that, but I do really, it probably is a little rare.
Other than the obvious growth that we've seen as a state and city, in this case Phoenix, specifically, what have you seen the biggest change for, potentially good or bad, growth-wise?
I would say the biggest change, especially over the last 5 to 10 years, is the change in job opportunities. The Great Recession hit the city of Phoenix hard, actually hit the entire state of Arizona very hard, particularly Phoenix, right? Because we depended on new construction and tourism for our economy. And that all took a dive in the Great Recession. So our leadership at the time, from the government down to the municipal level, decided that it was time to diversify Phoenix's and Arizona's economy. And they've done a great job, as we can see by the growth that's going on. I am fortunate to be the councilwoman that represents District 1 that has the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, which has brought incredible jobs to not just our city, but our entire state, because the semiconductor ecosystem is moving to Arizona. Much of it has moved and is continuing to move here. So salaries have increased a lot over the last 5 years.
Yeah, it's been fascinating. So I'm also a realtor as my second full-time job. This is my 25th year in the business, and I remember when I started, it seemed like we were just basically tourism-based economy.
Right.
And a few years ago, I attended a class somewhere put on by ASU where they had mentioned we were #1 for trucking in the world, in the country, which really shocked me. And whatever that meant, whether trucking actually happens here or whatever, I didn't get into the basic or the specifics. But it was fascinating to me that even since then, our growth, as you mentioned, in the tech segment, and whether it's trucking or whatever else, we're no longer just the tourism based, and it's amazing to see.
Yeah, we are not a sleepy little town. In addition to, the semiconductor arena, we also are in the biosciences. Phoenix brought in the biosciences campus downtown, which involves all three of our state universities, as well as some other universities. So, our mayor likes to say the cure for cancer is going to go through Phoenix. And those are all incredible jobs too, as well.
Yeah.
The investment in downtown on that campus has been about almost $7 billion. So.
Wow, that's great. So I know we recently celebrated our first drone light show. I did not attend it, but tell me and the audience, or let us know more about that and what it was like and the successes from it and all that good stuff.
So Deer Valley Park does after dark in the park as a pre-4th of July celebration, and traditionally it has been fireworks. Last year, fireworks were delayed almost an hour due to issues with the wind or concerns with the wind. And with the, expansion of technology and drones, there are drone shows now. And so they've worked really hard over the last year with my support to bring in a drone show this year. And I will admit, I'm a big fireworks girl, but I was excited to try something new. And it was a great show. It really was. It was the same amount of time, 15 minutes. They can do, pictures and logos. So it was fun to see the city of Phoenix and the state flag and some of the logos from our sports team. So it was really amazing. Some of the benefits from it is that you don't have the noise. So, veterans, our animals, our young people, like my 2-year-old granddaughter, she gets very afraid of noises. So they would have had to have left if there had been fireworks. But they were able to stay and see the show. Animals, right, weren't bothered by it. Additionally, we don't have the fire risk because it's the drones, as well as the smoke and the trash that comes with fireworks is also gone. So, fireworks are wonderful and I love them, but the drone show is another opportunity for us to do a great show for the community in a different way.
Yeah, that's great. And I also read that recently the Phoenix Police Academy just had their newest class graduate of 22 students. Is that correct?
Yep, 22 new graduates. We've been working very hard to increase our applicant pool and get folks on board with the Phoenix Police Department. So I know that we have a class as big as 45 in the works right now. So I think they will graduate later this year at the end of 2025. So we're very excited. I come from a public safety family. My dad retired after 30 years with the Phoenix Fire Department.
Wow. And
so the men and women who help to keep us safe and come to help us on some of our worst day or in a tragedy, they mean a lot to me. And so I try to advocate to make sure that they have the tools they need and the personnel they need to do the job that is best for the residents, businesses, and visitors here in Phoenix.
Absolutely. So Living North Phoenix was founded probably around 7 years ago. We just surpassed 37,000 members, most of them being in the Phoenix overall area, maybe also other cities nearby. But as a community that size, that's that targeted, meaning we try to keep it as hyper-local as possible. What kind of things can we do more of to help you, your office, and the community as our overall type thing?
So the city of Phoenix is great about seeking stakeholder input and feedback. So we want our residents to be involved. We have boards and commissions that folks can volunteer for, and that is everything from our village planning commissions to, I was trying to think of some of the other ones, domestic violence, so there is a variety of them. We have a youth commission as well. So they are all on the website, phoenix.gov, boards.phoenix.gov, where they can go and check it out, and you fill out an application online, and we're alerted. And if there's not a vacancy right now, there might be later, but the mayor and council appoint people to those commissions. We have when we did the GO bond a couple of years ago, those were all volunteers that sat on committees to provide input to make sure we were doing things right. So, yeah.
Wonderful.
And we also have Volunteer Phoenix. So if you have time to volunteer and you want to give back to your community, one of our biggest programs is in our aviation department at Sky Harbor, we have navigators. So if you'll notice when you go to the airport, there are folks in purple jackets, and they're there to help you. And they're just amazing and help us to keep our friendliest airport status.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Huh. So what other things, because community is very important to me. I know it's important to you, which is why I started the Facebook group and the community. And it's not meant to just be a Facebook group. We have our website, we do events, and we try to get the community involved and support local on a very, very high level. What other things are out there that we can be doing to support you and the community, period?
I think staying informed and really, finding out facts about what is important what are the important issues to your community members, and coming out for the events like we had After Dark in the park, or participating at your community centers. We do a double 10-day celebration over with ASU West Valley to celebrate the culture and the food of Taiwan, given that we have Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company in our city and in our district. And that's their Independence Day. So there's a lot of opportunity to build that community by going to events or volunteering or showing up at meetings, sharing information with your neighbors. So, or letting your council members know what's important to you. I know that sometimes my community members say, hey, we didn't want to bother you. It's never a bother. If we can help you solve a problem or direct you in the right way to get answers, or just help you get those answers, let us know. That's what I love to do, is make people's lives better, simpler when I can. Absolutely,
yeah. And the connection that we've had as my office and your office have been introduced and working together has been very helpful. And I know as we continue to grow, the Living North Phoenix community will appreciate it, because I know through different meetings that the Living North Phoenix group has had, that they didn't know about so many things that are available or where to go to voice those opinions. So I'm very grateful for our connection this time today. Is there anything else that you'd like to add to let Living North Phoenix know, and anything else?
Well, I would encourage them to please sign up for the District 1 newsletter. We also have a monthly community meeting. Our last one for this session will be tomorrow morning, actually, at the DoubleTree Inn at Metro Center. We do share a lot of great information, like our fireworks task force that's in place now with the 4th of July to make sure folks are using legal fireworks. But please sign up for my newsletter, come to our community meeting. If there's something I can come out and help support you and your community and your Facebook followers, please let me know.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Blair. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.